Just because you've been doing it doesn't mean you need to continue doing it. Maybe it's because you haven't pulled the trigger yet. Maybe you've been looking at your different options and you're weighing all the pros and the cons, but you haven't yet gotten around to pulling the trigger. You haven't decided. You're thinking, you're evaluating, you're kicking it around in your head, you're getting back to it weeks later, but you're just not doing what you know you need to do. Now, this might be a lot of different things. It might be your prospecting. It might be your email campaign. It might be the types of business you go after. You might still be thinking about whether or not you need to do cold calls. There might be a lot of things that you haven't yet pulled the trigger on because you're just evaluating. You're looking at all your options. You've got squirrel syndrome, but you got to pull the trigger in order to get the results that you want. How are you going to do that? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today on the last episode of the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. Stay tuned. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. This is the last episode of the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. My name is Charles Specht. That does not mean, however, that this is going to be the last episode that I do. Because what's actually happening now is, I'm pretty excited about it, but we're doing a rebrand, a refresh rebrand of this particular podcast. This is going to be the last episode that it's known as the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. I am switching the name to the Permission Sales Podcast. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. I might talk about it a little bit now, but I definitely will on the next episode, because I want to really sort of get back to the roots of what my business and consulting practice and it's all about. And it's about permission. It's about permission sales. Everything is about permission. Permission in marriage, permission in family, permission in the relationship with your kids, permission in your business, permission with your boss, permission with your prospects, permission with your underwriters. Everything is based and founded on permission. If we can get the permission of the person that we need to receive something from, then we're likely going to get what we want. So we have to work towards permission, not push, not beg, not plead, but provide value, receive permission, get awarded the business. That's what we're going to talk about. And so as I rebrand this podcast, you're going to see a lot of differences. I'm going to be doing a lot more interviews with different people, both inside the insurance space and outside of the insurance space. And that kind of leads me to a bit of a pivot. So the permission sales framework, I'm always going to be focused on insurance. I'm never going to be getting out of it. I don't see any time in the future, as long as I am doing business. However, I am going to be making a pivot outside of the insurance business by bringing on more people who are focused on sales, people in different organizations who are responsible for that, people, frankly, who are business owners who are trying to decide which insurance agent to do business with. In other words, you, my friends, who are the loyal listeners of the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast, you tend to be insurance producers and agency owners. I'm going to be bringing on a lot of my prospects and, frankly, a lot of my clients that I do consulting for, which are construction owners and other business owners, to get them to talk about what they're thinking about you whenever you call them. In other words, what goes through an insurance buyer's mind and how they're trying to figure out which insurance agent to choose. Why do insurance agents all say the same thing? How do they know who's a good agent, who's a bad agent, and so forth? So that as we start to pick it apart, we can figure out how that might actually impact you and your strategy. But as I said, it's not just going to be insurance sales. I'm going to be looking at other industries as well. I continue to do everything what I'm doing in insurance. I continue to work with people one-on-one. I am the chief sales officer for a number of insurance agencies around the United States and Canada. I will continue to do that. In fact, I think I'm going to be doubling down on that more. I'm going to be getting outside to do more public speaking engagements, things like that. I'm pretty excited about it, and I have kind of a big one that's coming up in just a couple of months from the date in which I am recording this, and you'll hear more about it in the upcoming weeks. But permission sales. Do insurance agents need to know how to gain the permission of their clients in order to win new clients? Yes. What is permission? Permission is getting your prospect, listen very carefully now, you haven't tuned me out, haven't you? Permission is getting your prospect to give you what you want so that you can win. What do you want? You want to have the ability to represent all the markets. You want to be the one that they place their confidence in, and you want to be the one that they trust, so that when you go to the market, you're going to bring the quotes in and they're going to do business with you. You want the permission. That's what you want. We want to get that. Lots of different industries need that. Attorneys need to figure out how to market and brand and prospect and offer proposals and close business, figure out how to get the permission of whatever it is that they have for their client, whether it's a business or an individual. So do CPAs, so do copy repairmen. I mean, frankly, every type of business out there needs to figure out how to get the permission from their particular prospect, whatever the industry is, in order to win. In fact, I'm using this whole idea not just in regards to sales and my consulting practice, but I'm kind of really sort of transforming my focus even in ministry and church ministry with the idea of permission, that we are working towards getting the permission of whomever we're going to serve. We're going to serve somebody. We want to work on getting their permission to allow them to kind of open up the bridge for communication, to have dialogue back and forth. I mean, frankly, I believe that everything focuses on getting the permission of the person that you're speaking to in order to be able to give them what they need or want in order that you can get what you need or want. It really is just kind of the focus. But can I just do like a TV timeout for a minute? 20-second timeout? Do you need to pivot? Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you people who are listening in your earballs right now. And by the way, thank you for doing that. I'm talking to you about the need to pivot. See, a lot of insurance agents, maybe you, but a lot of insurance agents, maybe you, a lot of insurance agents, yes, you, probably need to make a pivot. In other words, you're doing something right now that's just not working. And it might not even be a huge thing. It might be a particular thing that you need to change and pivot in order to get the results that you want. Maybe you need to pivot based upon the type of business that you're going after right now. Maybe you need to pivot on what your ask is. Maybe you need to pivot on your script. Maybe you need to pivot on your differentiation, your services that you provide. Maybe you need to pivot on the size of the account you're going after. Stop playing small and start to go big. Maybe you need to pivot, my friends. There might be a lot of different things, but frankly, maybe pivoting isn't even the issue. Maybe just stepping forward is the issue that you have right now. Maybe you've been thinking about too many different things and you're not quite sure exactly what to do, and you're just sort of skating along the fence of indecision right now, and you need to go all in. You need to jump into the swimming pool and stop dipping your toe and checking the water every day. You need to just get in and start swimming. That's what you need to do. Some of you just need to hear that, don't you? You just need to hear that. Stop playing games. Get back to prospecting. How many of you right now, maybe I'm talking to you right now. Maybe I'm talking to you. You haven't been prospecting and you know it. You just know it. You just haven't been doing what you know you need to do. You know it. You feel guilty about it. You're upset about it. You know, like it's this big, nasty, purple, fuzzy elephant in your office, and it's just staring at you every day. It's called the telephone. It just keeps looking at you, and it's just, you're not doing it. You haven't done it. You haven't done it in a while. You haven't made phone calls. You really haven't done too many email, out to prospects. Maybe dabble here and there, but you know it. You're just not prospecting. You need to pivot away from laziness and start to get productive. You need to pivot away from indecision and start moving forward. Like sometimes you just got to step forward. Sometimes you need to pivot. Sometimes you need to take a step back and reflect, is this working what I'm doing? So I'm just telling you that there's a lot of different things that I see from insurance agents on what they're doing isn't working, but they keep doing it. And a lot of times they even begin to revert back to what they were doing, even when they hire me. So for example, like I'll have a lot of different insurance agents that I might work with. They know they're not getting very good results. They feel like it's just not working for them. They hire me. We work through a number of different things. We figure out their micro niche. We put together a new tagline, a new script, and so forth. They might utilize it for a couple of weeks, and then they just kind of slowly get back to doing what they were doing before. In other words, what they really were in is a rut, and they didn't really jump out of the rut. They were just sort of playing on the sides of the rut, and what happened was that they sort of fell back into the rut. They just started saying the things that they used to say, and they didn't start saying things that they know they need to say. They get back into their old habits. And I'm telling you, it's hard to stop that from happening. We are creatures of habit. We keep getting caught up in the things that we do, and we don't even realize that it is a problem at times. We have to stop. We have to reflect. We need to be honest with ourselves. We need to even give ourselves permission to make a switch, to change, to pivot. So I'm telling you, some of you might have even just like sort of regressed into old habits that shame on you. You know that you need to actually get out of that, get back to doing what you need to do in order to achieve the results that you want. My friends, this is your career. This is your career. This is your career right now. You are trying to build your insurance empire so that you can build wealth, you can make a difference, you can build your agency, you can build your career. You're trying to not just pay the electric bill, but you're trying to be able to make something that's there for your kids in the future. So we don't want to play patty cake here. We don't want to be nonchalant about all the things that need to happen in order for us to have success. So I encourage you to pivot if needed, step forward if you need to do that, get out of your own comfort zone and stop them messing around and get back to doing what you know you need to do. In other words, get out of the rut. Am I talking to anybody here? Like, I'm just trying to figure out if I'm talking to anybody here. Maybe I'm talking to you. Maybe you hear it. Maybe you understand it. You're maybe saying, Charles, you're specifically talking to me. And I say, welcome to the club. Because I can almost guarantee you that every single episode that I put out, whatever the content is, the topic, I'm typically preaching that to myself before I come in here and preach it to you. We need to pivot. We need to reflect. We need to step forward. Maybe you do. I would encourage you to do it and do it sooner rather than later. You'll be happy with yourself when you do. There's a lot of different areas in which to pivot. Maybe you need to pivot by stop doing one type of prospecting and start doing something else. In other words, I have like lots of different agents from all over the place, and some are good at certain things, cold calls, some are bad at cold calls, some are good at emails, some are bad, some are great face-to-face, some, need to work on it a little bit. Everybody's just different. Maybe you've just been like in the office and you're thinking, I got to be here in the office. And so because I'm here in the office, that means I have to do office type prospecting, which means that I do telephone calls and potentially email. And here's my answer to you. Is there anybody in your office who wants to buy anything from you? No, I mean, I want to say it again because I don't know if you heard me, but I'm just saying, like, you're in your office, but are any of your prospects in the office? Like, is there anybody there who wants to buy anything from you? If there's nobody in your office who wants to buy anything from you, then why are you there all the time? Like, why are you there? And if you're an agency owner who requires your people to be there, like, I understand you're trying to make sure that they're working, but you know what? There's nobody there that wants to buy anything from them. Do you want to buy anything from your producers in the office? Well, kick them out of the office. Get them out of the office. I would suspect that your servicing team wants them out of the office too. Things are going to get a lot better. You can manage your team while they're out doing prospecting. There's definitely ways in which to make sure they're doing work, but I'm more concerned about results and not so concerned about whether or not they're spending 40 hours a week, doing specific work. I want to see results. That's what I want to see. And I hope that's what you want to see. And even as individual agents, I hope that's what you want. You want results. Well, get out of the office. Maybe you're making phone calls too long. Get out of the office. Nobody there wants to do business with you there in the office. Maybe you're tired of sending emails. You don't even know if they're hitting the inbox. You're just sending emails and you're leaving voice messages and you're talking to gatekeepers. You can't get anybody. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you just go and knock, knock, knock. Why don't you go knock on some doors? Knock on some doors. Get out of the office. Get out of your comfort zone. Go knock on some doors and introduce yourself. Shake some hands. Introduce yourself. My name is Charles. I'm a local insurance agent here. I am really focused on, driving down costs for my clients. My clients are experiencing anywhere from about a 17 to 37% decrease in premium compared to what they were paying with other agents. It's a significant amount. I don't know exactly which insurance carrier you're with or anything like that, but my clients are paying a lot less, getting very good coverage and services that they weren't receiving before. So I just wanted to come in, introduce myself, and explain to you that I'm here, I'm available, and I might be able to help you save some money on your insurance as well as bettering the services that you're currently receiving right now. When do you come up for renewal? Can you do that, my friends? Can you just go in, knock, knock, knock? Can you go knock on a door, walk in, visit to whatever these businesses are, shake some hands, introduce yourself, and just, you know what? That's fun, isn't it? Some of you you're like, yeah, that's what I need to do, because you are much more on the sort of the spectrum of extroverted rather than introverted, and you just need to speak to people. You know that you're better face to face. You know that you are better conversationally. Go to networking events. Do walk-in visits. You know what also is great? Like when you go do walk-in visits, by the way, and you get business cards from people, when you get business cards of a decision maker, what's normally on that business card? Email and cell phone number. So now you can get the email address rather than just info at. Plus you have their cell phone number, so now you can call them on the cell phone rather than calling Betty Sue or Ricky Bob, who are the receptionists. You know what? You can also text message these people. And frankly, text messaging might just be the best form of prospecting on planet Earth right now. I'm telling you. My clients that are doing texting, they're killing it. They're doing really well. Get out of the office. Try something different. It's amazing what happens when you step outside of your comfort zone, pivot, do something a little bit different, walk forward, continue to do what you're supposed to be doing, and get out of the rut of going back to what you were doing before. Can I give you a visual description of what I mean by that? So I don't know exactly why, but my dog was sick yesterday and just threw up right on the rug, in a hallway. Well, I had to take that rug out this morning, washed it off, kind of left it out there, and my dog comes back into the room, and he just immediately goes to the spot that he vomited on, and he just started licking the floor. Isn't that nasty? That is nasty. Well, I'm telling you, that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing if you go back to your old vomit on what you used to do that wasn't getting you any success. Why do you do that, my friends? You stop that in the first place because you realize you're not getting any results there. It's no fun. It's no fun showing up to the office and not getting any results. It's no fun continuing this insurance process and not getting anybody to meet with you. Why did you go back to the old vomit? It's kind of visual, isn't it? I think it's actually very real. We so very often will return like a dog to our own vomit and start going back to the things that we know we shouldn't be doing or that weren't getting us the results in the first place. Don't act like a dog. Don't act like a dog. That might just be something to put on a coffee mug. Don't act like a dog. Act like a professional. Act like, not an amateur, a professional. So pivot, my friends. Now, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, this podcast is going to pivot. I've been thinking about this now for some time. I've been thinking about this pivot for a while, and now is the right time for me to do it. I'm bringing everything that I do back to the focus of permission. Why? Because I think that I was kind of being like a dog going back to my own vomit. I was just spread out in a lot of different areas. I was just saying I got to get rid of this. I got to stop doing this over here. It's not that they weren't bad. They were good. A lot of different things I was doing were good. They were just keeping me from being able to build what I wanted to build in the first place. They're good. I was getting some results, but I also know that, if I stop doing some of those things and just come back and regroup, I'm going to be doing something that's more fun, and I will build something that's probably significantly bigger and more financially rewarding. And so the podcast refresh, the rebrand, is a way for me to get out of the rut, to stop being like the dog going back to the vomit, and really start to focus on what I need to in order to build, frankly, what I want to build. You know what I want to build? I want to build something that I want, not what other people want. And I want to build something that helps people like you get what you want. To me, that's just straight up fun. It is fun when my clients are winning. It's fun for me when my clients are victorious. It's fun. Do you remember what fun is like in the insurance business? Fun is hearing the word yes from your prospect. Fun is hearing your prospect say, you know what? Yes, I would like to sign your broker of record letter. I would like for you to be my agent and do all these things you're saying. That's fun. That's fun. You want to do some more of that? That's good times. You know what also is fun? Going through a process and then you do your quote proposal and the insured's like, yes, let's bind coverage. I want that. That sounds great. That's fun. That's fun. Let's do some more of that. So the Permission Sales Podcast, Permission Sales, that's my business. That's my email address. That is my podcast now, focusing on permission sales. And the book that I'm going to be writing is Permission Sales. My sales framework is a 5-part a system called the Permission Sales Framework. Everything is about permission and about sales. I'm excited about my pivot. I'm excited about my refresh because it's what I want. It's what I'm trying to accomplish. It's what I'm trying to provide to you, the loyal listeners of the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. Now, just so you know, I'm going to be bringing on lots of different people for interviews, okay, here on the podcast. Maybe you want to be that person. Well, you know what? Reach out to me, charles@permissionsales.com, charles@permissionsales.com, and talk to me about why you think you should be on the Permission Sales Podcast. I'd love to have a chance to talk with you, maybe bring you on. But the Permission Sales Podcast is going to stay here, right here. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and click the subscribe button and you'll be subscribed to the Permission Sales Podcast. It's simply going to be like, you're not going to miss anything, okay? So just make sure you're subscribed and invite some people. Invite the agency owners to begin listening. Invite other people on your team and your staff to start listening. Let's try to figure out a way in which to create a strategic process for you and your agency so that you can be more strategic to gain the permission of your prospects going forward. That's going to be a fun ride. As I mentioned, this is the last podcast episode for the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. I would like to take just about 5 seconds of quiet reflection to remember the memory of the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. Nah, forget it. We don't need 5 seconds. Thanks, Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. Appreciate you. But we're moving on to better and bigger things. The Permission Sales Podcast. This is where not only do I teach and train insurance agents just like you how to build an insurance book of business of $1 million or more, but anybody that's trying to figure out how to be more successful in their prospecting, how to turn prospects into clients, how to gain permission in order to win, how to become a better leader in your agency by giving permission to the employees, to your account managers, to your staff, to your salespeople to actually get what they want. Like, man, there's just so much excitement. Permission in productivity, permission in leadership, permission in sales, permission in service, permission in ministry. I'm just really excited about so many different things that we're going to talk about. So yeah, this is the end of the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. But my name is Charles Specht. I am the CEO of the Permission Network Insurance Agency, and this is the Permission Sales Podcast, where I'm teaching and training insurance agents just like you how to build a $1 million or more book of business through signed broker of record letters. This is now just about to become the Permission Sales Podcast.